court orders. EFCC chairman on content, Olushola, how do you see this?
Well, from the point of law, I see it as unfortunate. It's a negative feature of impunity by government officials to the law, to court orders. I mean, when somebody, of course, apart from being a top shot in government,
Okay.
is heading an agency that is rooted in law. That is, of course, rooted in law of anti-corruption. So I expect the head of such an agency to be the most to display the most adherence to law and to court orders. So
Okay.
it gives a very wrong signal to the outside world when we are operating in democracy, and at the same time we are ignoring court orders. Because democracy is based on law.
Okay.
So if you say we are running a democratic government and officers of such government are flouting court directives, I think it's a wrong signal. Well, these are as it may, Lanty has appealed, the agency appealed against it. But then, in a sane society, he ought to have obeyed the judgment of the court. Well, I wouldn't know, I'm not a lawyer, maybe the appeal insulated him from obeying that court order.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, except the lawyer that can interpret that.
Okay.
But I believe that a pronouncement by the law court, a judgment by the law court is expected to be obeyed.
Okay.
It can be appealed again, but it's very again for content of court. It was indicted and ruled again on contempt of court. Contempt of court, demands that the person, the victim or the culprit, will go to jail. I mean, that is what it's a very simple analogy.
Yeah.
Contempt of court, then you go to jail. So for him to have appealed against it and no measure is taken to make him obey that judgment, I think it's one of the wrong signals that this government has been sending across to the world.
All right. Thank you. Sheyi, what is your take on this non-adherence to court orders, EFCC chairman on content?
Thank you so much. I think it's unfortunate that the chairman of the EFCC, Bawa, is also it's a youth like myself. As part of when he was appointed, I think I used 2 days to celebrate his appointment because as a youth and just given that kind of a very big task to, and I think we are agitating for you to be involved in the policy making and the ministry, decision making. So I see that as a top call for the government when he was appointed to head the agency. Coming out that what he has done, I think the judgment was given in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And I think what the judgment said, there was an issue of this man, Air Vice Master Ujuawu that was taken to court by the FCC. He was alleged to have collected some of 15 million naira and a regular over. And the court, in its wisdom, gave the judgment discharged and acquitted the accused person. And he was asked to give back his property and since then, yes, I have not been able to bring that judgment. And like I used to say that if we are praying for a good society, for a sane society, it's a rocket science. It is we that are in that society make it to work. It is we that will determine how the society will be, because it depends on how we are able to follow what the rule says. we have laws that must be obeyed, we have judgments that must be obeyed. So for the judgment, yes, the FCC might not be happy with the judgment, but there is a judgment. And once the judgment is pronounced, you have to obey that judgment, unless you are appealing the judgment. If you are not appealing, you have no choice than to obey what and in this case, he was asked to follow the property of this person. You have the adamant. Meanwhile, you have people of they have profile cases that billions that are counted in billions of naira that has been done since the case has started. So it's so unfortunate that the Baba has behaved in that manner. Yes, because we are in the same category, in the same generation for me, and we must learn to do things properly. We must learn to obey and to respect this government institution. And this is what we are clamoring for. That our rulers, like we are supposed to call them, they are not leaders, they are rulers. Our rulers, they just see that they are above the law, that they cannot be challenged. You cannot challenge them. Even if you are to challenge them, you will be in trouble. So we that are coming also, we should not follow that path. The path that has that are taking the country to where it is to this situation, we should not also follow that. And that is what Baba is also trying to do, regulating court or judgment. So for me, it's a wrong signal. It's a wrong signal, even for his future engagement, for his future, other things that's because it's very young, still has a very long way to go. If you are not behaving like all those people that we are complaining about. So what are they not telling us? You don't say that you are part of them, or you cannot do what you wish or what nobody can challenge you. So for me, it's so unfortunate, and thank God the court is now coming out to you'll be committed to prison for doing this. Yeah. So it also serves as a deterrent to others. Yeah. That if you have that kind of mindset that you can dissuade court order. Take for example, the info in Australia regarding the appointment of RA. Okay. I followed the court process because the kingmakers went to court to ask court to stop the government from proceeding for so, and the government went ahead. Even in the judgment, in the order of the court, just 2 days ago, even the judge was so annoyed. I gave you an order to stop the process. I'm still going ahead to do it, so that we are not respecting the government institution. And we say, well, we are looking for a clean society. We must learn and must be ready to follow what the law says at all times.
All right. Now, let's look at this issue of context, especially when it involves the government agency and a very strong agency like EFCC. What do you think would be the implication of this disobedience to court order?
We have said it that everything that government does, they should be mindful that, of course, Nigeria is now. Nigeria is part of the global community, and it's no longer an era where you do something and then you keep it under wraps. Where government operations and operations are like a myth, just keep it, just do many things that people don't even know exactly what is going on in government. People don't know how their resources are appropriated and spent. People don't know how policies are functioned out. Today, it is a global village. We now live in a digitalized world. So, a responsible government must not only think of its citizens. Okay. It must think of its citizens outside the shores of the country. Okay. And of course, it must also think of what possible responses of the host communities, of those citizens, wherever they are. Okay. Nigeria, like I said, the world is now so close. Yeah. And when you look at institutions all over the world, they rate your government not only by the quality of your policies or the effectiveness of implementing those policies, they also rate your government on the on the quality of behavior of those who run the government and their attitudes to the law. The American system exists purely on law. On law. But law is the only thing in America, the biggest commodity one can ever look towards to purchase, and if it is possible. So everybody, including the president of the United States, as powerful as he is, the most powerful person in the world, he is nothing before the law. Nothing. Because everything he does is based and controlled and determined by law. But I always say that I always make the difference between the rulers and leaders. A leader leads by inspiration and by compliance with law. A ruler does not need to inspire anybody, and he does not need to respect any law. A leader will respect laws, but a ruler will disobey laws and impose his own way. So, for Nigeria to enjoy the kind of status it deserves in the global community, the attitude of those who run the government matters, especially when it has to do with law. Obeying court orders is fundamental. In fact, is key to any progressive governance.
Right. Thank you. Sheyi, your take on this known errors. What is the implication of short coming from the higher court as a very strong agency of government like the FCC?
I've said it that we seem not to be getting it right, even from the top to the bottom. Because Bawa is, at least with his level of with his experience and duration in the EFCC, I think you should have understand that there are some things that you need to do, no matter how. If you even lose a case, because maybe due to not presenting good evidence, that no matter if you have a good case, if you have a good evidence to back it up, you will end up losing the case. But even if you now look at that, if you lose a case based on not imparting evidence so well, that does not mean that you should disregard what the court says. At least the passive means that you must obey the judgment. Even if it's not convenient for you, you must. That's what we call it law. It doesn't look at your faith that this is kind of law is law. What is set up, you must obey it.
Yeah. All right.
So maybe I want to add. That Bauer has returned the vehicle that was the main point of maybe it's well, they say fearing, maybe he's afraid of being sent to jail. That he has returned it anyway. So, but then we are still, the issue is still there. The journal was delivered against him for contempt of court.
Yes. All right. Now, before we round up on this topic, that reminds me of the case of ASU, which was taken to the court by the federal government, and the ASU, ASU as a body appealed that judgment. But getting to the appeal courts tell them to go and obey the judgment of the lower court before he can entertain any appeal from ASU. Now, will it not right for Bauer to first of all, answer for the content this thing before he can go on appeal?
Like I said, the judgment was delivered in 2018.
Yes.
Judgment, this issue we are talking about. Okay. Since 2018, that it has been delivered. Yeah. So 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, it's not obeyed. So for now, I think even appealing, maybe by probably by experience in the profession, maybe can tell us once a court has been, once you have been alleged of contempt of law
For that long.
so I don't know if there's any appeal against it, because it's coming from the court that you have to have respected this, you have to have done this for this time. So for you not to, which I don't know the kind of appeal you want to bring now. What you have done, you just did it now. Return this property to the owner. If not, that's what the judge said now. Now return the judge, return the property when the court has also pronounced that to be committed to.
As a matter of fact, if you are living, if you have been living, if you have been living in a sane society, Bawa should be in jail by now, and Bawa should be in jail for that act. Yes, in a sane society, Bawa ought to have been in jail. And for the chairman of EFCC to have disobeyed legal pronouncement of the law court, and that disregard and disobedience stood for how many years now?
4 years.
4 years, and nothing happened to him. It tells a lot about what some people have turned this country into. And I believe that if we, except we are pretending to run a democracy anyway, I want to believe that we are largely pretending to run a democracy. If not, if you're actually running a democracy grounded on law, because the grand law or the fulcrum of democracy or democratic governance is the law. Is the law, the judiciary is the law. But I had expected even the Supreme Court to have taken drastic action on Bawa in the last 4 years. That a competent court of jurisdiction handed down a judgment, and the man refused to obey that order. Except maybe we are not saying, of course, it's only the lawyer that can interpret that. Maybe we are not saying that somebody can commit contempt, and that contempt can last about 4 or 5 years before action is taken. Except there are provisions in the constitution or in the law, but that I wouldn't know. But I believe that in a layman, my own layman understanding is that once a court of law pronounces a judgment, that judgment should be obeyed. Especially when we're talking of content. So it should have earned him a jail. In fact, he ought to have been in jail, even if he live up for 2 hours.
And to quickly, and even if you now look back at the judgment of the content of court now, even the judge ordered the inspector of police to take him down to the prison. He was in the jail, take him to the prison.
That ought to have been done. That ought to now.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the second topic of our discussion for today. 2023, BIPAS data will be secured. That is coming from INEC, Olushola. This assurance, how do you take this assurance from INEC?
But I want that assurance to be doubly made, and Nigerians should be, of course, when we have witnessed, the touching or looting of INEC office in the state. For what purpose, I wouldn't know. And of course, fears are being expressed on various social media platforms now. I'm reading them that INEC should take care of his properties in Osun, should take care of property, So, and some people even believe that there are elements who do not want the next election to hold. So, amidst all these tensions and fears and doubts, I think the security agencies, all arms of security agencies should redouble surveillance on INEC properties everywhere in the country. And when you look at the issue of that, the issue of rivers, it has generated a lot of comments, a lot of issues, and a lot of shenanigans, among these politicians. There are some politicians who do not want rivers to be used, and they have tried so many methods. They have failed. They have organized a kind of gang up against the INEC chairman. You had speculations and rumors all over the media space about him being removed or whatever. So all these things are all these things cannot be treated offhandedly, and they cannot just be dismissed with a wave of the hand. There are elements who are bent on sabotaging INEC laudable conduct of some elections in Nigeria now, which has given Nigerians a renewed hope that something tangible can come out of our electoral system. I mean, Beavers raised that hope. A lot of Nigerians, including myself, have almost lost hope in the sanctity or the validity or the fairness of any of the electoral process. But with Beavers, and some elements do not want that, and they can go to any extent to achieve their hope. So the IG should, in fact, should even make it a priority now. It's a national emergency that INEC should have double surveillance on its offices and properties in every part of the country, because you can't rule out these saboteurs. Now that even their watches, their financial watches are being rubbished. You can't buy books anymore. You can't buy Beavers anymore. If you put $10 million on a Beavers machine, it will work. It will do its job. But you can bribe the humans around the electoral system who can write results, who can falsify it, but you cannot falsify Beavers. And it has been proved that money is no longer, I mean, of course, they are trying to buy votes anyway. They are trying to, rigging via other things are no longer, easy, especially with Beavers. So, these saboteurs will now look, okay, what can we do? So I can't dismiss the hand of the enemy in the touching of INEC office in the state, and it can happen in many other places, especially in places where INEC was seen to have performed creditably. So we should not sleep and put what do you call it in English? Put it on the rooftop and go to sleep. No. INEC deserves extra security surveillance.
All right. Thank you, Sheyi. Now, Beavers will be secured coming from INEC. This assurance is ahead of 2023 polls. How do you take this assurance? Are you in tandem with INEC, assuring Nigerians that the data from Beavers will be secure?
I think for me, I'm expecting an INEC that will do its thing or things without making it public. You know, the way you are telling me that, oh, don't worry, that road that you want to pass, anytime you are put to pass through the road, and you have security that the person that wants to commit crime also will be looking for the other ways. As a matter of fact, there's no technology that cannot be tried, cannot be hacked. You just need to also to step up on that technology. Just few weeks ago, my website was hacked. I've been battling with it for close to a week. I couldn't access the website. So later I noticed that someone has just partially entered the back door. Like they dropping some content, that goes against the rules of Google. Automatically, once that has been successfully dropped there, Google just Samsung taking out of the server. So that was important. So to tell you that people will just sit down somewhere and just be thinking on how to commit crime. So for INEC, I think I want to meet to them regarding the Beavers. I sincerely what I witnessed in Osun election, government election was superb. I saw that during the election, the big stalwart, the big politicians, they became powerless. Because one, you cannot for him to trouble your polling unit. It is abstract calculation. Cannot. There's no issue of overvoting. You cannot even do overvoting. You will not go. You know, and it is whatever you put in the beavers that will go to the server. So you cannot manipulate that. If you are manipulating the people, you cannot manipulate what are already sent to the server. So that is what makes that perfect. And you know, like my person said, the series of attempt, even in the Osun government election, they act the server to drop some things. At the end of the day, I need came out to tell the woman that they tried as far as it was not Russia, I think from Russia, they tried to hack the beavers, the server, and they couldn't access it. So I just want INEC to limit his strategy regarding that. Just try as much as possible, because 2020 election is a huge work for them compared to what happened in just Osun, just the state. So that they have to monitor the whole country. So it's a very big task. They should just mellow down on telling, but yes, it's good to tell us that we are assuring you that you have any problem with as far as beavers concerned, it's good. But just trying to also increase the proof and increase the level of trying to put anti-hackers that will not be able to access the beavers, because the beavers is as a matter of fact has helped us to also believe in the electoral process in Nigeria, to believe in the INEC, most especially the present leadership of INEC, Professor Mahmoud. So for me, there's to try as much as also to do more and to tell us to let us have the belief that what happened in Osun can happen anywhere. And President Bada said it, that one thing I will leave behind, I will try as much as possible to strengthen our electoral system, which he has done part of it by signing the bill, allowing the people to work. So for me, INEC should also keep working on their server, secure the votes and results.
Okay. Now let's look at it this way. You know, beavers is a technology machine. Now, technology device. Now, you see, Nigerians are always ahead of any technological innovation. They can tamper with it at any time. And mind you, these beavers machines, they are not manufactured here in the country. They are manufactured, they were imported into the country. How do you think that this beavers machine, are you now saying that they cannot be hacked, they cannot be tampered, they cannot be compromised?
Well, I'm not totally ruling compromised out, maybe 100%. And this is why INEC has to be proactive. Proactive in the area of anti-hacking mechanisms. I believe that INEC should have a kind of a research unit or whatever that will constantly, look at things like this. Engage in cross ideas, processing of ideas, of technology and all that. I believe that INEC should have even links, multiple links, with all these ITC agencies all over the world. And I want to implore INEC to intensify anti-hacking or anti-hacking methods ahead of the election. It should not just rest on his laurels. It should not just believe that since we have the beavers machine, everything is no. INEC should not go to sleep because it has INEC should just be fashioning out proactive measures all the time. As a matter of fact, the research unit of INEC in that area should be a kind of a 24-hour service.
Okay.
That before these hackers, they should think ahead of the hackers. Think ahead of these criminals. Because, like you said, Nigerians are adept. Some Nigerians are adept at circumventing laws, at destroying things, not at innovating. Their own innovation is towards negative things. So, INEC should be aware of this, and of course, INEC should be bold by the stand of Mr. President that he wants to leave that legacy of electoral sanctity, and that kind of presidential assurance is enough for any agency to go to do everything possible to maintain the integrity of our electoral system.
Thank you. Sheyi, now this issue of BFAS is a technological device and it can be tampered, it can be compromised. Don't you think that all these things we are saying about BFAS can come to naught? Like, at 2023.
Actually, in a way, when we talk about the issue of the BFAS or any technological device, it's prone to hacking and all that. There's nothing. And even on top of that, recently I read somewhere that some university are beginning to enroll to put in that curriculum hacking as a course.
Hacking as a course.
Yes, but no, not in the other side.
Okay.
To put a stop to it.
Okay.
So I think that's it. Because Nigerians, when you look at the trajectory of our voting, when during the era of Morris Eve, when they just tear your shit and when you now for overputting and they use when the court started using forensic audit to audit the ballot, and that was a palm cannon. Interpreted. So after that, I think it was before me fast. We already used Cardida. That was also a lot of issues on this. We now move to Beavers. Then these Beavers of the thing, at least to some extent, I'm not 100% any device cannot be compromised. No. It's just how you are able to put proactively up before that thing occur. As a matter of fact, I came out to tell us that yes, they try to hack the server during the Osungoma circulation, but the engineers were able to alert and able to cut it so they couldn't access the server. So I want to believe also they must have gone for more training also for the big task, which is 2018 election. So as it was, and the leadership of I will continue to amount the leadership of the INEC at the moment. Professor Mahmoud, at least is trying enough even to give welfare to his staff because it's beyond having a very good and free crime-free or free and fair election is beyond because the staff also must be well taken care of. So once you're able to take care of your staff, you just assure that they also work with everything within themselves, they'll be loyal to the system. So what if and that with my interaction with some of the staff, which they are enjoying that. So I want to just to encourage the leadership also to do more, most especially because the politicians are very desperate. Most very in this our country Nigeria, very, very desperate. As we have to say now, also they are thinking of how to bypass the Beavers. Because they know that once you are not able to bypass it, your result, you know your result from your unit. So they are thinking of how to, the only thing they can do is to hack it. Once they are able to hack it, the other thing just we need to encourage the security agents to be at alert, to protect our vote, to protect Nigerians. I pray God will help us.
All right. Now, thank you, gentlemen. Let's move to the third topic of our discussion for today. ASU to federal government, we are not casual workers, rolls out strike. Now, for ASU to be telling the federal government that they are not casual workers, how do you take this statement from ASU?
It's not a statement coming from that kind of quarters. It's a bad omen. I think it's a bad omen for Nigerian education system, particularly at that level. If the electors are now being forced, let me use that word, are now being forced to respond to government's treatment as being casual, treating them as casual workers. In labor language, casual workers are no workers. They have no status. They have no status at all. No status. They can be hired and fired at will. They can come in the morning and in the afternoon. That their service are not organized. They have no legal or social status within the labor system. So they can be discarded. And for that word now to be used by lecturers, professors, PhD holders, those who are that government is treating them like as casual workers. It's so not only the meaning, it has a lot of implication. When we talk about the university system, that you don't just treat the university community, the average tower, the way you will treat other sector or other levels of education. Because any disruption in the academic calendar of a university can have an effect of 10, 20 years. It can have. It depends. Any disruption of the academic calendar in any university can have that kind of long-term effects, 10, 20 years. It can lead to disruption, even the collapse of the academic structure of such a university. So when you have incessant, strikes in the university system, what exactly I'm talking about? So government should just this is why some people classify some nations as nations of illiterates or nations of educated men, because of the way you treat your men of knowledge. Many people don't know that the education sector has security risk now. I've said it on some platforms that what is happening to the education sector in Nigeria today is akin to the security problems that Nigeria is facing, the Boko Haram or whatever we're talking about. Because a body of youths in millions who are expected to have their brains activated, who are expected to be in school, learning, are now confined to the corners of their parents' homes. Most of them are not even living their parents anyway. Most of them are living everywhere. They are confined without anything to do. And we are talking of security issues. We are talking of miscreants. So it's not some the way this government is handling certain sectors of the economy. At times I just look at even the pronouncements of some of these ministers. They are so nauseating that you just this man, did he ever attend school at all? Or did he allow the school to pass through him? When he opens his mouth and talk, a medical doctor who went to the university, got his MDDS, whatever, and talking that way. I think there should be a line, a wider line of distinction when somebody who's an academic, or somebody who's an intellectual, or who claims to be an intellectual, is appointed to serve in government. I don't think it is a disservice for that kind of a person to now completely ignore his intellectual orientation because of pecuniary benefits of office. I've said that positions don't really matter. Your success in life should not be dependent on the position that you occupy. You can be ministers, you can be governors, you can be 10 times ministers or governors. It is what you do with your position that matters. Look at Zulu. Just let me be specific now. Look at Zulu. Look at his governor. Look at the system of government. Look at the way he approaches governance. Zulu must not detach himself from what he is. Despite the fact that he's the governor of a whole state. His conduct in and out of office, speaks volumes. I wish a lot of people, a lot of other governors would be like Zulu. Zulu man has demonstrated the richness and quality of education, enlightenment, civilization, and intellectualism. Look at the way he approaches governance. He is in touch with his people 24 hours. He meets with them. Before he was governor, he had not. He only rode on a bicycle, and that's a professor. So, if people can bring the quality of enlightenment, of an enlightened mind into governance, then this country will not be in this storm today. If Ngidi is talking and is paying only the court can tell him to pay salaries, some of these ministers they are so nauseating. Like just the one that was talking about God being responsible for the flood. When Nigeria ought to have built a composite dam in the last 13 or 14 years, it has not built it. And that flood just ravaged the whole, a significant part of the country, and is telling, is alluding to God. I just look at some of these people, the way they talk, and it is because people allow themselves to be enslaved by the offices they occupy. The moment you allow yourself to be enslaved by the office that you occupy, you are not better than a stark illiterate. You are not better than an urchin, a street urchin. I've said it. It is not the position that you hold that matters, but what you do with your position. That's what matters.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Sheyi, let me come to you. As to federal government, we are not casual workers. Rules are fine.
I just pray the issue of half salary, pray it's not from our mouth from us. Because I know when Benepol was in service, I know how many of, I think maybe 30 months half salary they are still there. So pray is not the template of that Osun. It's now they are now trying to use it with our lecturers. It's so important to hear that from ASU. And when I read the report where the Minister of Labour, he said that it is only court that has me to come back. That ASU, respect the court judgment that asks them to return back to class. It does not make them to be at the mercy of our leaders. And I think there's one thing I want to use this medium to say now, that I've never heard or read anywhere that an architect or a builder has been appointed to be the Minister of Earth. I've not heard it. The Minister of Earth must be a medical practitioner. I want to believe. And I want to advise our leaders that if we want to appoint to cabinet, I think it is necessary we should also study and look at the accident of those we want to bring into our cabinet. There are some people that will just appoint them, and if it's not taken, they will just mess up your government. And I think also it is important that if at all they want to appoint Minister of Labour, it's not a big deal, a bad idea to appoint maybe a retired civil servant or a retired public officer that understands, how it works. I can't imagine seeing the Minister of Labour just talking anyhow, as if these people they must beg you before you do what is right, that their entitlement. You don't subject them to the issue of now coming to the level of telling the public that we are not casual workers. It is embarrassing. And even it's more than embarrassing, because at the end of the day, that sector, if care is not taken, will be a problem. When our lecturers that to do research, that to advise government, that to help government, to stabilize government, to tell government what to do, and now we are just treating them as if they are casual workers. To pay them, I think that was an agreement before they got to where we are today. And if you look at, I used to say, if you look at the demands of ASU, some of them is not personal, some of them is not to themselves. It's to the whole country, it's to our education sector, to strengthen the education. But unfortunately, due to the attitude of our leaders, you just see that after all, my children are not here. Yes, their children are not here. It is the children of the poor that attend public school. But we should know that the same country that we also pray to be better, from our end we must do something that will better the country, the society. And I want to just tell the Minister of Labour that either he likes it or not, May 29, 2023 is the end of the road, the end of the journey. He will not be minister for life. But whatever he does today, we should know that he's coming. Few days ago, I was inside Kolokwe. A woman was talking that all the leaders that are just treating us as if we are animals, that their children will suffer for it. And I saw that, I saw the way the man was saying it for frustration. I know that I know that with what God has given us as a country, we have no reason to be suffer. Now that this struggle is like this. Those that are making to suffer, their children are still coming to suffer. It's just to tell us how people have just the relegated people to not just to see any open game.
Yeah.
And now for us, I will encourage them to keep making their demands, and they should not see strikers again as the next alternative.
All right. Now I'm coming to that. Shola, now let's look at the other side of the comment. Rolls out strike. Now, if in spite of what the government is doing to ASU now in the area of half salary, the ASU has resolved not to go on strike. Even if they don't go on strike, will that make meaningful impact on our education system?
Well, it will not make meaningful impact considering the rot or the damage the 8-month-long strike had caused. And of course, ASU says it's not going to strike. People forget that the university system is not run like it's a conversation, like I've said it. The university system is run on instruction, that is lecturing, research, and of course, marketing of research, of such research reports. So, and of course, supervision of various cadres of students, masters, PhD, PhD, and all that. So, there are so many things that so many things are involved in the tertiary education system. So this is why strike should not be encouraged at all, except it has become so inevitable. Strike should be, in fact, should not even be there, because a lot of things are involved. And when the education system is disrupted, as I've said earlier, a lot of damages are unleashed on the system. So they can resume. They will resume. But the pace, lecturing is not just, there are so many things that are involved. What about research? What about those students who have been due, whose research papers or projects have been due for approval, at various stages? What about even those seeking admission? Of course, those seeking admission, they have to even forget it now in the last flow, because even the system has been so fractured that before they can even think of admitting new students, those are there. So the number of lectures that ought to have been completed are there. Backlog of lectures, research papers, or granted. So a lot of things are involved, except those who are intellectually inclined are in government. They won't appreciate all these things. When you have people who are barely literate, even in disciplines they profess. So how do you want them to act?
All right. Quickly before we round up on the program, ASU will not go on strike. They have resolved not to go on strike. But will it amount to anything in our education system? Even if they don't go on strike, they still have the power to do some other things. At least to
don't forget that there's this adage in Yoruba. Only Kuse, Mamudu say, if I'm working and I'm not paid, I don't. When I'm not, I have family at home to take care of me. But I couldn't because of government free to do their own. So for me, it will, if they don't go on strike, there are many ways that they do strike. Even if they are in the offices and they don't go to class, so they just watch it. So that's
in the first instance, I want to ask you, what will it cost government to pay the salaries of those lecturers?
All right, gentlemen, I have to thank you for coming on the program today. Our time is fast spent and we have to go now. Olushola Ajiboye, I thank you for coming today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Shinji Adeni, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Viewers at home, this is where we are going to call it quits for today. Tomorrow is another day where you meet another of my colleagues on the program, same time tomorrow. Until then, I am Kayode Adebayo. Bye-bye.